All right, if you want to start a money-making blog or niche site in 2022, this video is going to show you exactly how I do it. So blogging is not just following a random bunch of tips, tricks, or hacks. It's all about having a strategy or an A to Z plan that you can follow. And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about in this video, how I would start a successful blog or niche site in 2022 using this strategy. So before we go any further, I think it's important to talk about credentials, right? I've been doing this, building blogs or niche site for almost 8 years now. And it's funny, when I went onto YouTube and searched how to start a blog, you know, a lot of the videos you see are people who are kind of making money with their blog promoting Bluehost or ConvertKit or kind of these other blogging about blogging affiliates, and there's definitely nothing wrong with that. But the advice that I'm going to give you in this video is based on experience of building sites in kind of real blogging niches, not just the blogging about blogging niche. So I just wanted to show you a couple of things here before we get going. So this is one of my kind of public niche sites. It's called Credit Takeoff. It's all about the bad credit niche. And I just have a couple of earnings screenshots for you to kind of prove to you or show you that I kind of know what I'm talking about. Again, based on results that I've gotten on real niche sites and real blogs. So this is the affiliate earnings for Credit Takeoff from one affiliate. So we're almost at the end of the year. I'm filming this on December 9th. So year to date up to now, this one affiliate for my credit site has earned over $81,000. And then here's a second affiliate again for my site, Credit Takeoff. We're year to date now, December 9th. So the second affiliate program has earned me over $64,000. Now, again, that's not to brag or anything. It's just to show some credentials that I'm not just talking about making money with web hosting affiliates and ConvertKit and all that blogging about blogging stuff. I actually start sites in niches outside of the blogging about blogging world. So I just wanted you guys to know that before we went any further. All right, so again, starting a successful blog or niche site, to me, all comes down to strategy, okay? So this is what we're gonna talk about in this video here. These 7 steps or these 7 strategies. Number 1, nailing your niche. Number 2, doing the right keyword research. Number 3, publishing good content on your blog. Number 4, building your authority. Number 5, having some kind of social media presence, and we'll talk about why that's important. Number 6, building your email list. And number 7, eventually selling some kind of digital product. And then over here on the left, you'll see, you know, broadly, all 3 of these things fit under one of these, all 7 of these things fit under one of these umbrellas here, being your niche, which is super, super important, your content, and then eventually your email list. All right, let's talk about arguably the most important part of starting a blog or niche site, and that is nailing your niche, okay? Having an actual predefined niche is super, super important. I can't tell you how many bloggers or niche site owners I see that are all over the place with what they're trying to be known as. For example, you know, someone might have a blog that covers cooking and parenting and travel and home decor and so on and so forth, right? So many different niches that they're trying to cover, and it's really, really hard to see success with that kind of blog. It's not impossible, and I do have students that have successful lifestyle blogs. I just want to be clear about that. But if I were trying to build a new site in 2022, I would zero in on kind of what I want to be known as an expert in. For example, in my credit site that I showed you earlier, that site is all about bad credit, how to improve your credit score, how to get a credit card if you have a bad credit, right? When you think about that kind of umbrella, people who have bad credit, right? That's really my niche. That's my quote unquote audience. And the benefit of having a defined niche like that is A, it makes it much easier to rank in Google, because Google will know what you're an authority in based on the type of content and the topics that you're covering on your blog. So if I have 150 posts all about bad credit or somehow related to bad credit, Google starts to see me as an authority, right? And when I go to start building links, which we'll also talk about a little later on, you know, if I've been quoted in Bankrate, in the Simple Dollar, and these big personal finance sites, Investopedia, as a quote unquote credit expert. That definitely helps build my authority, obviously, in Google. But it's not just about Google. If you want to eventually go build a list, build an email list, and sell a digital product, which we'll talk about as well, then it helps to be known as that person in a specific niche. Now, of course, for my SEO site, right, Stupid Simple SEO, I've niched down, obviously, into SEO and niche sites, okay? I'm not just writing about digital marketing and Facebook ads and Instagram and TikTok and all things digital marketing. I've niched down into the SEO/niche site space, and being known as that quote unquote expert in SEO or that quote unquote expert with niche sites helps me as an authority to build my list and then sell products related to those niches. Now, if I had gone really broad and tried to be all things digital marketing, it would have been much harder for me to kind of establish myself as, again, quote unquote, as an expert in this space, because I would have been all over the place in terms of digital marketing, right? So nailing your niche helps with your blog content, right? What types of content are you going to be creating? What topics are you going to be writing about? It helps you plan out your content in the keyword research phase, which we'll also talk about. It helps in terms of creating content, right? What should you be writing about next? It helps establish you as an authority in Google and an authority with your audience when you go to build your email list or when you go to sell your product, right? And there's tons of great niches out there. You don't have to go super, super broad where you're writing about 9 different topics. You know, there's a ton of consumer-focused niches where you can get good traffic from Google and establish yourself as an authority where you want to sell a product. But nailing your niche, especially if you're starting from scratch, is the number one most important thing, because everything else that we're going to talk about builds off of nailing your niche, of having an actual niche. All right, let's talk about strategy number 2 here, and that's doing keyword research. Now, of course, I'm coming at this from an SEO perspective of creating content on your blog that's going to rank in Google, get traffic, and we're going to monetize with ads and affiliates. So with that in mind, you know, we want to publish a decent amount of content on our site, and we'll talk about publishing content. And it all starts with doing the proper keyword research. When I start a new site, I want to know exactly what I'm going to write about next, okay? I don't want to just write a blog post and then wonder, what am I supposed to publish tomorrow? Or what am I supposed to publish next week? I want to have almost an unlimited number of topic ideas or keyword ideas so that I can continuously publish content or hand it off to a freelance writer where they can take the next keyword on the list and just keep going with my content, right? And that's where doing proper keyword research comes into play. You cannot have a successful blog or niche site that's SEO focused without knowing how to do keyword research, right? Most bloggers go about doing keyword research the wrong way, right? They kind of just hop into a keyword tool like Key Search or maybe Ubersuggest, and then they just plop in kind of a broad seed keyword like home organization or whatever niche you're in, and then that tool will spit out a bunch of random keywords, and then you kind of have no idea what you're supposed to do next with all of those keywords, right? Keyword research is really all about identifying low competition keywords that we have a chance to rank for in Google and that can give us traffic and that is related to our niche, right? It kind of has to check all of those boxes, right? First, I wanted to make sure that it's actually related to what my blog is about, right? So using my credit site as an example, nearly every single post on that site is somehow related to credit scores or improving your credit or bad credit, right? Maybe there's a few pieces that are broadly personal finance related, but the vast majority of that content is all about my niche. And I found those topics to write about through doing keyword research. Now, we're not going to rank for every single post that we put on our blog or our niche site, but we want to have, you know, the vast majority of the content that we create to go after kind of these low competition keywords where we think we at least have a decent chance to rank. Obviously, there's no guarantee with Google that we're going to rank, but we want to have a strategy behind identifying these keywords so we know we at least have a fighting chance to rank in Google, because when we're ranking in Google for these keywords, that's what brings us the traffic. That's what brings us the ad income and the affiliate income. So those affiliate screenshots that I showed you on earlier on in this video, all of that traffic, 100% of that traffic was from Google, was from SEO, right? And that's kind of the benefit of SEO traffic, is it tends to convert really, really well. But it all starts in terms of content creation with keyword research. So if you're not doing keyword research, or you think maybe you're doing it the wrong way, you really need to focus on this before you even start writing any of your content. All right, so strategy number 3 then obviously is publishing a bunch of content on your site. Again, I'm coming at this from the niche site, affiliate site, authority site type angle here, where our goal at the beginning is to monetize with ads and to monetize with affiliates. And in order to do that, obviously the blogging game, the niche site game, is all about content, creating a lot of good content on your site. So there's really 2 main things to think about here. One is the quality of your content. I think by now in 2022, most bloggers understand that we can't just type up random thin content and think it's going to do well in Google. So the quality of our content is the most important part of writing content. But number 2 is also the volume of content, or how much content is on our site. Okay, so if you think of 2 niche sites or 2 blogs in the same niche, all things created equally on both sites, but site number 1 only has 25 blog posts, right? But site number 2 has 250 blog posts, okay? Obviously, site number 2 is going to have a much higher chance of succeeding in terms of ranking in Google, getting traffic, making ad income, and making affiliate income, just based on the number of articles. Okay, remember, all things else being equal, having 250 high quality pieces of content is obviously, when we think about it, much better than having only 25 pieces of content. Because when you think about content in terms of every time I hit publish on my site, that's one new opportunity or one new chance for a post to rank in Google and to bring me traffic and to make me money. So every time I hit publish on a new post, I'm giving myself another chance to rank and get traffic. So the quantity of your content is also super important. Now, the question that I will usually get next is, well, how much content do I need to have on a blog or a niche site to give me a chance to maybe get into Mediavine? Okay, now obviously it's different for every single niche. There's no one size fits all answer. Broadly, I would like to see at least 100 pieces of content on a niche site, and preferably a lot more than that, maybe 250 pieces of content, 500 pieces of content, and we're talking about over a multi-year period here. Obviously, if you're writing all of your own content by yourself, obviously this is going to go a lot slower. If you're able to invest a little money into having people write content for you, then this makes this a lot easier. But content really is, after we've chosen our niche, is the most important part of getting that initial burst of traffic, our initial rankings, and it's how we monetize with Mediavine or another ad network, and how we monetize with affiliates. So again, the quality of your content and the quantity of your content is super, super important. And again, if you can shoot for, 100 posts in your first year, right? What's that? 2 posts per week. If you're writing all of your content yourself, I think that's doable. If you're having someone outsource, you could probably double that and get 200 pieces of content in 1 year. And if you do that correctly, along with choosing the right niche, doing the proper keyword research, we can never make any guarantees, but you're definitely on the right path to getting into Mediavine. Do me a favor, if you're enjoying the video up until this point, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps out the YouTube algorithm and it helps me out as well. Now, if you only did these first 3 steps here, nail your niche, do a lot of good keyword research, and publish a ton of good content, you could reasonably expect to make $1,000 a month or more, and potentially a lot more than that with just these 3 steps. And I consider these first 3 steps kind of the base layer, or kind of not step number 1, but kind of part number 1 of building a successful blog. And many sites, including my credit site, which I showed you earlier, kind of stopped around, we'll say step 4, which we'll talk about right now, which is building authority. But if you just did the first 3 steps and only focused on just putting out more good content, after a while, your articles will likely rank in Google, and you could probably get into Mediavine again with just these 3 steps. But I want to talk about step number 4 here, or strategy number 4, which is building your authority, because we want to take our site really to the next level. So when I talk about building authority, there's really 2 different ways of thinking about this. Number 1 is from the SEO angle, the Google angle, and that's really building backlinks. Okay, so backlinks, most of you guys know, are super important to SEO. Every time we get a good backlink, it sends a strong signal to Google saying, oh, we should trust this site more, we should take this site more seriously. For example, again, on my credit site, I have backlinks from huge sites like Reader's Digest, Investopedia, creditcards.com, bankrate.com, Business Insider, okay? So all of those really good, high quality links send a strong signal to Google that says, hey, this credit site, we should start trusting this site more, start ranking it higher, start sending it more traffic, okay? So building that authority from an SEO angle really comes down to getting links and or mentions, right? Maybe you get quoted in an article and you don't get a link, but even that mention with your name and the website name helps build your authority, and again, helps build your rankings and your traffic. And there's a few different ways that we can go about doing that. Guest posting, even though Google says they don't like it, it still works in my opinion, even in 2022. Help a reporter out is another way to get quoted or linked to in kind of these big sites. But building your authority out for SEO really means building out your backlinks. Now, outside of SEO, building your authority can mean other things like, let's say, going on a podcast, right? And again, this is where we're going to eventually get into building your email list and selling a product. But when you're trying to build your authority as someone who's known in your niche, then we mean kind of going out and getting maybe a guest post, but not for the backlink, just for the authority. Again, for example, when I first started my SEO blog, I published a guest post on Making Sense of Sense, which is a big site in the personal finance space, but it's also a big site with bloggers. So thank you, Michelle, for letting me publish that guest post, which again was 3 years ago when no one knew who I was. And just publishing that guest post on Michelle's site really helped build my authority as someone in the SEO blogging space. So guest posting is one way to do this. Going on podcast. I've been on a few podcasts. I've been on a Facebook Live, which is kind of a similar thing with Mediavine, right? So just getting my face out there, my voice out there, talking about the subject intelligently helps to build your authority. So again, podcast, guest posting, Facebook Lives, where you can kind of leverage other people's audience to help build your own audience. And again, this has nothing to do with SEO. It has nothing to do with search traffic or monetizing with ads, really. It's all about kind of phase number 2 of building a successful site, which comes down to building an email list and selling a product. So again, building your authority is really, really important. First for the SEO, which is, getting those backlinks, right? If you go on a podcast, chances are you're going to get a backlink, which will help your SEO. And you're obviously going to get shown in front of other people's audience. So it'll help your authority that way as well. Okay, so strategy number 5 is get social, or obviously leverage social media. So I am not a social media expert by any stretch of the imagination. I don't post on Instagram. I don't have a TikTok. I've never used Pinterest. So don't come to me for social media advice. I obviously am getting into YouTube, and I think YouTube is a good way to grow your brand and also grow your authority. But when I'm talking about social media, again, this falls into the selling a product part of your blog, it's not necessarily about the traffic and the ad revenue and the affiliate income, although it can be. So let's talk about Pinterest first. Depending on what niche you're in, I think Pinterest can still be a decent way to get traffic, to make ad revenue. Although truthfully, I think Pinterest traffic is really dying off, and I wouldn't be surprised, maybe a year now from this video, if Pinterest was just shot in terms of a real traffic driver for bloggers. Obviously, I could be wrong, but still today, I think Pinterest, if it makes sense for your niche, right? If you're in the recipe niche, it makes sense to be on Pinterest for the ad revenue, for the traffic, for the affiliate income. There are other social media platforms like Instagram, right? Or TikTok. When you're leveraging those platforms, it's not about the traffic, right? It's not about, we're not posting on Instagram so we can get a click back to our site to make Mediavine money or Amazon money, right? That's just not what Instagram is really for in terms of a blog. You're just not going to get a ton of traffic. Same thing really for TikTok. The reason you would want to be on those platforms is the same thing that we talked about earlier, is to build your authority so people get to know who you are. So eventually when you want to release a product, then people will have that know, like, and trust factor with you because they've seen your face all over Instagram, or maybe they've seen your face all over TikTok. I read an interview, it was a podcast kind of transcript interview of someone who uses TikTok and does TikTok and Instagram videos about Microsoft Excel, right? That's her niche, and she's on TikTok and she's on Instagram doing these kind of quirky, funny videos about how to use Excel. And she's got a huge platform on both of those social networks. And she's selling a course now about Microsoft Excel, and she's making an absolute killing. I think her handle is Miss Excel. So she's a great kind of case study of how you can use those social networks, again, not to get traffic to your blog to make money with ads, but to build that know, like, and trust factor. So when you get to the point where you want to release a digital product, you can release it to those audiences, but more importantly, they'll know who you are. They think they'll know you, they know you personally, which will make them more likely or more inclined to buy your product. Okay. So again, social media is not my cup of tea really, but in terms of traffic and ads and affiliates, I think Pinterest still makes sense for some niches. But more importantly, when you're trying to build your brand or when you're trying to build your authority, whether it's YouTube like I'm doing right now, it's all about building authority, or Instagram or TikTok. So again, people come to know and like you. So when you want to sell your product, you'll have, quote unquote, an audience to sell it to. All right, so let's talk about strategy number 6 here, which is building your email list. So I really do believe that if you wanted to get to, let's say, $10,000 per month with a blog or a niche site, you could do that just with SEO, maybe Pinterest, and monetizing with just ads and affiliates. Many niche sites can get to $10,000 per month with just doing that. Now, if you wanted to really level up and let's say get to 25,000 plus per month, that's where I would recommend starting your email list. You should really start your email list when you start your site. You might not have much traffic yet, but getting your email list really going will take your blog or niche site to the next level. So just to show you obviously what I do on my SEO site, right? So this is my Stupid Simple SEO homepage. And the first thing that I'm trying to do here is to get people on my email list, right? So if they click this button, it's going to take them to a page here, which is just a landing page to sign up for my free training here, right? So this is a free SEO training, and people can just put their name and email and then hit watch for free, and it immediately takes them to a free training, right? And that's part of, or one way that I build my email list there is just sending people to a freebie or to an opt-in. Building your list, again, from the beginning, or if you haven't built it yet, or maybe you want to wait a little bit, that's totally fine either. But again, if you want to take your site and your income to that next level, obviously, I'm not the first person to tell you that building an email list is super, super important, because we want to capture whatever traffic that we get, or a part of that traffic, right? Let's say we're getting 50,000 page views per month from Google and Pinterest. Well, that traffic, yeah, they come to our site, they read an article, maybe we make affiliate or ad income, but they go away, right? And they might not come back. We want to capture a portion of that traffic onto our email list so that we can, when we have a new post that we can send them an email to that post. But more importantly, when we have an affiliate offer for them, we can pitch them the offer. When we have a product that we want to launch, we can launch it to an email list. So obviously freebies work the best in terms of getting people on your list. You know, we don't want a generic opt-in where sign up to get weekly updates. Really, no one's going to sign up for that. We want a good lead magnet, a good bribe, right? Something that they actually want, which will solve their problem fast in order for them to give over their email. But email list building can definitely take your income to the next level. And again, this is kind of stage 2 of a blog or a niche site where we're monetizing with ads and affiliates. And then this is more building a list so that eventually we can launch a product. And of course, that takes us to our 7th strategy here, which is selling your own product. Again, if you want to take your income much, much higher than just ads and affiliates, it really is all about building your email list and then eventually selling your own digital products. So there's basically, 2 main ways to go about this. One would be kind of an ebook or kind of a written product that, tends to sell, on the lower end, maybe $27 or lower. But I've seen ebooks make people like $5,000 to $10,000 per month, depending on the niche, depending on their audience. And the second main way to sell a digital product, of course, is selling a course. I have a few courses myself. Tons of people are making courses these days in all types of niches. It's not just marketing. It could be gardening. It could be dog training. It could be getting your baby to sleep at night. It could be a cooking course, right? Almost every single niche, you can come up with an idea for a course. And the good thing about digital courses is that you can sell them for a higher price point than you could. And again, all of that money is really yours, right? You have to make the product once, you have to write that ebook once, or you have to film the course once, and then you can sell it almost an unlimited number of times, depending on how big your email list is. But that's why it's so important to have your email list. And that's why I do also, again, recommend having some kind of social presence if it makes sense for your niche, whether that's Instagram or TikTok or YouTube. So when you go to launch your digital product, you can launch it to your email list, and you can also launch it on social, and that'll make it much easier to get more sales that way for sure. But launching a digital product, definitely recommend it if it makes sense for your niche, if you're up for it. And it's the kind of the last strategy in terms of the niche site blogging kind of framework here, but it's also the way where you can potentially make the most amount of money. So if you enjoyed this video, do me a favor and smash the like button and subscribe to my channel, and let me know if you're planning on starting a new blog or niche site in 2022, which of these strategies are you going to take into account?